Good afternoon, everyone. Chris Berryman here, coalition builder and founder of Bringing Humanity Together. Welcome to another edition of Conversations for Humanity today on Facebook, LinkedIn, and our YouTube channel. We have a jam-packed show for you today because our great guest today will be joining us very shortly. It's going to be Alexandria Martin, and she'll be coming sharing her story with us today on Conversations for Humanity. And we're just so humbled and honored to have each and every single one of you here today. And we're just so humbled that you guys are taking time out of your day to watch us and maybe grab a little nugget or two of knowledge and inspiration today, because I truly believe these calls are meant to not only connect us, but maybe get us to a point of collaboration and really build out community each and every single time when we just say, hey, I'm willing to show up and everything like that. So we're just so humbled and honored. And I did put it in the chat on all the platforms. If you wanted to come join the call, this is where you can join at StreamYard. So that will be the green room link. So if you want to join the call there, please do so. We would love to have you guys on to hear not only Alexandria's story, but what did you get from it, and what kind of things you learned from it, and what really kind of maybe say, I gotta know more, and everything like that. So we really truly are so humbled and honored when you guys allow that to occur and everything. And like I said, she'll be joining us shortly. And today, I kid you not, today was just a great day, and here's the reason why. I had so many calls today, it's not even funny. And everything happens for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. And I truly believe that what we're doing here, bringing humanity together, is really going to create so much impact and so much inspiration, and really create that win-win-win. And maybe when we help others rise, like it does say in that little right there, that picture right there, we rise by lifting others. I truly believe that it helps us also to get to where we want to go, because if we make it always about us, it's always going to be about us. But if we make it about others and put it on their timetable, not on ours, it literally changes the game in and of itself. And Sharon's already here with us. Sharon, how are you doing today on wonderful Wednesday?
I'm great, Chris, and I'm so excited to be here. I wasn't supposed to be able to be here, but the universe made it so that I could actually
Oh
be
my
here live.
god, that makes me so happy because two of my Del Sol should be here. Two of my board members had to couldn't attend last minute, but Del Sol should be here. I was just messaging him, and Scott, I'm not
Well,
sure.
I would
So
have
I'm happy you're
supported.
here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I would have supported you either way, but I'm really glad to be here live.
But I kid you not, though, Alexandria. Today was a great day to be in touch with humanity, was it not, because of today's calls?
Yeah, I just was listening and just soaking everything in. So I'm just happy that we're connecting and just learning, growing together. So yeah, there's that.
I couldn't agree with you more. Today's call was awesome, Chris, for the time that I was there. I always leave our connections and our calls much more uplifted than when I arrive, even when I'm in a uplifted space to begin with, um, because it's just so amazing to be surrounded by like-minded people. And I just want to say that, Alexandra, I have so much respect for everybody in our community, but I really have so much respect for you and your willingness to share your story. I heard your story for the first time not too long ago, and I find it extremely moving, powerful, empowering, and inspirational all in one.
Well, Sharon, we greatly appreciate you. And of course, two other people who wanted to answer the call today is already answering the call. Rashida and Dina's with us today. Hello, ladies. How you doing?
I don't know why it's echoing. It's like I have this going twice somewhere. So sorry if you hear echo.
It could be if someone had a microphone on. So whoever has a microphone on, that usually happens. So but we're glad you're here. So, Dina, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm happy for two times today with you and Alexandria and Rashida, and so I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, I'm just so humbled and honored to have you ladies here today. And like I said, hopefully Rashida will come back on here in just a minute. But this show is literally for Alexandria. She answered that call and she said that she wanted to share her story uh, on Conversations for Humanity. I was like, okay, let's make that happen and everything. So let's do that and everything like that. So, Charles, glad to see you here today, sir. I'm glad that you're still in Costa Rica today, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Except for when they deport me every 6 months because I'm a tourist. I live in Costa Rica.
All right. Glad that you're here. But Alexandria, I'm sure people would love to know a little bit about who you are. So, kind of let people know a little bit about who you are and maybe even kind of chime in with them about what led you here to bring humanity together.
Okay, so I wanted to put this in there because I made this and I love this. I can't get the angle right at all. But I love this because it says inspire, influence, impact. And I actually made this with my work team before I moved to Philadelphia. But yeah, that's what kind of like the values that I really live on from day to day, and it's why I choose to commit to first my self-care practice so I can be able to show up for others. Through that self-care practice, I've been able to learn about who I really am from the inside out beyond just this meat suit that we're in, and letting go of the Maya. So it's really helping me really get in touch with who I am beyond various different layers. And it kind of led towards the name, but I actually asked higher power, from my understanding, to kind of give me the name because I actually, so the quick little why is just from what I've come from. I am a survivor of sexual exploitation as a minor, and I didn't even know it, though my abuser was prosecuted and currently in jail for distribution of child pornography. That's what it was in 2012. And it wasn't until after that incident I met with the FBI, and when I told them what they said, what my abuser said to me, one of the last things he said was, "I don't care how long it takes. When I get out, I'm gonna find you." It really brought a lot of scarcity into me because I finally just got out of the bondage within my mind, body, and spirit from that type of life. And when the FBI like wanted to talk to me after he was in jail, I told them this, and they Scott, hi Scott, yeah, I'm so happy he's here. After I told them what what my abuser said to me when I told the FBI this, they literally just kind of pushed it under the rug, because they were able to prosecute him for 2 charges from other minors in different states. He did have footage of me, but they couldn't identify me, so I didn't get my justice, and because of that, they kind of pushed me to the wayside, told me to seek counseling, and you'll be fine. Don't worry about what he said. It'll be a long time that he's incarcerated. This is when I was 19. I'm 31 now, and I pushed that down, and it brought me into a very interesting world of basically thinking all I was ever good at was performing sexual acts, and then finding ways in my own choice of receiving money for that. And it was kind of a way of taking my power back from so many times just getting it taken away from me. And I'm actually kind of thankful learning about myself by losing myself, especially today, because through all that, I was numbing myself with drugs and alcohol, thinking that was the way to obtain value, when really it was separating me from myself. And when I was finally able to let go of that and start my self-discovery journey, which started with the 12-step programs, I was able to really kind of peel the layers back, because I had so many layers that were on me. And I thought as if, okay, I develop value it by the way you want me to be, the way that you want me to be. Let me be a chameleon so then I can receive the value. When really it was in me the whole time, and I was separating myself and just making this really thick layer. But I'm thankful for those layers, because each step of the way, through surrendering, through grace, through forgiveness, first for myself, I have been able to find what love really means and how to give that back on an ultimate level beyond just my story and what's happened for me. I know there's people who, not just women, not just mothers, people, I know there's people who've been through much worse than me. And I am thankful, even though I kind of went on my path alone. I had help along the way, and I'm thankful, but I didn't really have a solitary support system, because my family, my biological family chose, they didn't want to be in my life. Even today that I've built a chosen family, and that's okay. And I found acceptance through values and values and principles I've been able to find through the 12-step program, which helped me learn like the inside out how to really get back to myself. So I really, for me, like the 12 steps, not like the fellowships, but the 12 steps particularly, because I've really done that work with someone who else who's gave me the tools, and I kind of use them for myself, what I need, and left the rest. I've been able to really understand what value and quality is, and really kind of flip the script of seeking a value outside of myself and really learning what that means from within. And it kind of goes back to like my dedication and commitment to what I call step 11, or my self-care practice of prayer and meditation every single day. So yeah, that's a little about me and a little behind the why. Because so the niche is focused on mothers, particularly thrivers of human sex trafficking, is because mothers are the ones that, I mean, yes, they're the men that were raised children, the father raised children, but mothers particularly, they gave birth to children, and if they don't know the tools themselves, how to be self-sufficient, and given that space for them to practice what they need and leave the rest for others in the community, how are they going to be able to break this generational trauma that most of this crime happens within families? It happens within people really like knowing the people. And it's just really, it's for me, the big why is breaking generational trauma on an international impact level. So yeah,
that is truly inspiring. And I when I even heard a little bit about your story, Alexandria, it just really called to me that you got to share it and everything like that, because I truly believe when people really know who we really are, and they don't see the mask that sometimes we present to others in one way, shape, matter, or form, but they see the real us, that vulnerability will shine through. The power positivity and the power of possibility will also shine through when we just say yes and we answer that call. And I truly believe in the power story too as well, because you just don't know the power of what you share with somebody, or even tell even your story in and of itself, that it's going to have an effect not only for a living and lasting impact, and maybe even create legacy, but it can get us to a deeper and meaningful way to connect with the people on that deep and meaningful human level and everything like that. And if you can believe it or not, from already from Australia, Scott is
I'm
here
so
with
happy
us
for me.
today.
It's like what, 3 a.m. your time, right?
Yeah, yeah. So glad to see you here, Scott. If you'd like to join us,
4:59.
Yeah, I shouted you out this morning in the group chat. I was like, we definitely need to connect Scott. He's also my mentor. He's helping me a lot with the back end when it comes to just building. The nonprofit course is about serving first, but also like it's a balance of business and service. So he's really helping me a lot, really getting clear on my niche and how I serve. So I appreciate all that you do for us, Scott. Thanks.
So, Scott, please introduce yourself. We would like to know who you are.
Wow. I'm waking, so I'm waking up to who I am. Um, yeah, Scott McLaughlin. I've been a strategist and expert in business growth for about 25 years. I have turned my hand to social impact work at the beginning of 2000. Done a lot of work around food relief, domestic violence, homelessness, that sort of stuff. Invented a little thing here called the Hunger Map back in 2020 that's now being used by 4 charities in a collaboration, which is awesome. And seeking to take that platform internationally. I've turned my hand more recently to trying to teach people about strategic thinking, what growth strategy looks like, how to be vigilant in that strategy, and how to make sure that what your purpose is gets executed within very clear boundaries. But we live in a world where we have to be very careful, and in Alex's case, and we've got to be very careful about the balance between your story and your mission. And, we've been doing a bit of work on that. So, but, I think I just ran an experiment yesterday. Alex, I don't know whether you noticed like the responses to it, but I think I'd share with the group. This is really important lesson in perception. I ran a story about Australian retailers invoking a surcharge on air conditioning this summer. And 90% of people so far have believed it's true. But if you actually read the article, it's a satirical piece. But it's close enough to possibility that people have bought in. So what does that tell you about people's time that they give a subject matter? So this has turned out to be way better than I even thought it would be, because people have sort of fallen into it and gone, that's ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. But actually the lesson was, remember that you're dealing with a set of perceptions and you've got a nanosecond to cut through and be relevant. And now it's like, I've got very experienced business people who are on LinkedIn going nuts over this surcharge that I made up in my little mind the other day. So it's kind of funny, but what does it teach us, right? It teaches us that as passionate as we are about our mission, we've got very short attention spans to cut through on. So our clarity is essential. Yeah. So, which is what Alex and I work on, or Lexi. Sorry, I like calling you Lexi. My first dog was Lexi, but that's inappropriate, isn't it? Yeah. So what do? I guess I've worked with government, corporates, federal elections, that sort of stuff. These days, I'm trying to orientate governments, large corporates, and startups around what are you trying to do, who are you trying to serve, and how do you need to show up? And I do that through a lot of big data analytics, psychological profiling. This particular space I fell into, just as a FYI, I was presenting at a domestic violence conference at Microsoft's HQ in Sydney. God, was it a year ago? A bit longer. And I was asked by a major bank to participate in a child sexual exploitation project, and found myself, instead of profiling voters, to profiling pedophiles and child sex offenders, working with law enforcement. So I'm deep into that science. I'm deep into the science of detecting children who are most at risk and helping law enforcement engage in mitigation and intervention strategies, particularly where there's an imminent threat. And we're using big data to figure that out. And there's some very simple things that are easy to quaff out there in terms of the childlike ignorance that goes on online. It ain't fun to hear that 11-year-old girls think it's fun to be on Tinder and pretend to be someone else and make dates with grown men. The risk involved in that kind of fun but again, that's very easily detectable. What we're looking for is kids who are in the...
Come in.
Hi, Del Sol. Sorry.
What we're looking for is kids that are in the, I was going to say perfect, but it's actually the imperfect combination of household constructs, family dynamic, socioeconomics, access to technology, and those things, plus online behavior, be it gaming or whatever it is that that leads us to a child at risk. There's some phenomenal technology out there now that's, if you haven't all heard of Bark.us, it's one of the greatest exports out of the US in recent years. The algorithms are so sophisticated on that app that it will track your child's mobile phone behavior, or cell phone, excuse me for the lack of nuance, and behavior, and determine whether there's sexting, sextortion, bullying, and flag that to the parents. But moreover, what's really impressive is that there are algorithms continually being developed and refined that can say, actually, you're not speaking to a child. That despite the fact that child sex offenders have huge forums on dark web networks around how to language to teenage children from a specific blah, 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 these algos will pick up that nuance. So some pretty cool shit out there to fight it. The truth of the matter is, though, in this game, it's not about shutting down demand. It's about shutting down supply. And shutting down demand is a zero-sum game. So, well, it's an impossible task. So that's where our minds are at in terms of shutting down supply from an intervention perspective and an education perspective. But yeah, it is 5:06 a.m. on the clock here, coming at you from the future. So if any of you want me to do a tea leave session or anything, I can tell you what tomorrow looks like. Thanks for having me, Lexi. Thanks for getting me out of bed. I hate you.
Well, Scott, we're glad that you are here, and I can't wait to have a great and engaging conversation with you, sir, and everything, and we'll make that happen. And I know Solaris was on the call, and hopefully she'll be back here in just a minute and everything. But let's go over to Anderson, and then we'll go into Alexandria's story because this is her show. Anderson, how you doing today, sir?
Hey, everybody. I'm doing good. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
You're good.
I couldn't miss this for the world. Thank you so much for letting me be here. How's everybody doing today?
Can't complain. It's Wonderful Wednesday.
Yeah, that's incredible, Lexi. I caught your story every time when you speak and you tell that story. Man, I feel your strength, and you're so strong and you're so loved. And I know the work that we do here, yeah, we can think about it from, the technical parts of it, the science parts of it, but really it comes from a deep emotional place and a really deep sense of spirit. And I know you're driven by spirit and emotion. So I honor you. I honor the light that is in you every single day. And the work that you're doing here, I align with it 100%. Hi everybody, my name is Anderson Dinga. I'm the founder of Live Unity. Incredibly synchronicities that happened just about a year ago when I connected with Lexi on this app called Clubhouse. Chris, you and I have connected before a few times.
Yes, we have.
We meet as well, so it's good to be here. Good to be in your community, and I just want to say it's been such an honor to be part of your journey, Lexi. To see you grow and to see you get to this place. I know that you've been looking forward to this particular day, and being here. And this is you. You did this. You brought these people together. So congratulations. It's incredible. You are a trailblazer, man, and I couldn't miss this for the world. And the work that we've been doing, we barely scratched the surface, but I feel like we've already done so much. When you think about raising the awareness, there's so much that's been gone unseen, unheard, unreported. I saw your article the other day on LinkedIn where you were just on ChatGPT. You asked ChatGPT, hey, tell me the numbers. ChatGPT has no idea. That's how bad it is right now. Our systems need to be upgraded. We've got a ways to go. And so you are a beacon for the world to see. And this change is happening. I can feel it. I can feel it happening already. It's happening. The change is already happening. We have to recognize that because these are the things that we put into existence. I love being able to be here to build, inspire Light Haven with you. It's been an honor for me as a newbie in the whole world of brand engineering, to get in there and brand a nonprofit like yours. So thank you all for allowing me to be here. I don't want to take up much of the time. I couldn't miss this for the world, like I said, and I definitely wanted to be here. One, to bear witness to this event, to you, coming out of that pattern of invisibility and stepping out into a place where you can shine your light for the world to see and for others to find their pathway out of that despair and into the light. So thank you very much for being you and for this beautiful mission that you've aligned me with. I'll sit and listen. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer, but I'll mute myself for now. Thank you so much.
Anderson, yes, and we definitely got to get together, sir. It's been far too long since the days of Clubhouse and everything. Will make that happen. And Helen, I see that you want to join too. I'll send you the link here shortly and everything. And there's a lot of people who want to join into the conversation, but it's that time though. Alexandria, I know you got into a little bit about your story, but a little bit, but let's dig in a little bit deeper to find out how that journey has now progressed from when you started there and now you ended up here. And we want to know how that journey has been for you. So please come to share the rest of your story here on Conversation for Humanity.
Okay, progress, not perfection. That's like literally been my life motto. Seriously. Failing forward, that has gotten me through a lot. So yeah, we shared a little bit about like where I came from, and I guess like where I'm at now, right? Like how I got here. Okay. So I got here by I've had a crazy ego. I've had a self-will run riot ego, and I'm thankful for that because it's really helped me understand the duality of both sides of the same coin when it comes to, for me, I like to perceive as humility, as to being able to understand the really intense side, to appreciate the subtle side, and the balance in between as to who I am and how I get back to myself, so then I can really be able to give back to others. So I would probably say my walk to get me where I'm at now started a lot, honestly, 2020, to be very honest with you, is when I started like developing an awareness as to what I was called to with the mission, because before 2020 I did not have a relationship with a higher power of my understanding. So the more that I'm understanding that, or my faith, what like people like to say, the more I was understanding that relationship, I was learning how do I say this? Give myself love that I was seeking for a long time outside of myself. And it was really hard in the beginning because I was living by myself in Philadelphia in a studio apartment. Right in the beginning of COVID, like I got laid off at my first recruiting job, didn't know how I was even going to make it by, tried to even reach out to my biological family. They're like, we can't do anything for you, got to figure it out. I was scared. And I remember going deeper into substance abuse before I really had that solitude moment. What I thought was isolation turned into solitude, and it was a flip of the script for me. I didn't really understand at the time, but then through that and kind of just like asking questions with what I saw from others in recovery rooms where they had values, or they had values in themselves, they were happy, and talking about triumph and how they've overcome things you don't think people could really overcome, and how they're standing in that today and giving back and being of service and being lights for others in various different platforms, industries. I was just so curious, like, how y'all stay happy? Like, even you put down all of that, like, how do you stay happy? And one of the first things they taught me in my first 24 hours was meditation and prayer, in a step 3 prayer and meditation. And it was so hard for me to meditate in the beginning, because like I just couldn't sit with myself. I was so like irritable, distressed. Like I didn't want to look at my insides. I was just so irritable and mad and angry. And I was thankful then we had the Zoom rooms, and I actually went on a room at like 3 o'clock in the morning on a Britain time zone, and that was the very beginning of my meditation practice with the collective. And then one thing I liked about it was even though they needed their cameras were off, I knew in their own way they were practicing. So if I got out of my practice instead of running away, it made me it developed a sense of comfort when I felt isolated. There was other people practicing something I was curious to know about, even though like in the beginning it was so hard to even sit still for 30 seconds. But I kept coming back. I kept coming back. I kept trying and being curious. And just asking other people like how they developed like values for themselves. And over the time, I just kept my curiosity leading the way, and I built in perseverance. As well as when I was trying to look for a position, and I'm thankful I was able to get back into my industry while very embracing the beginning steps of recovery. And during these times, I learned through persevering with my career, where do I want to practice leadership? Do I want to practice it in corporate, or is there something much greater than what I see? And I had some very interesting trials when it came to that, and the universe showing me like how you're to work through this when it comes to where you want to grow. And I'm thankful that I chose the route of recovery, even though I've had options to go up the hierarchy of corporate, but I love how I serve in recruitment because I could be authentic with helping people with opportunities. And I realized for me, this may not be for others, but I was losing my sense of value, losing my sense of worth when it came to really being there for others in my team. When I was focused on a leadership in a corporate route, when I was trying to practice more leadership, like with my sponsor in 12 steps and other people who had leadership skills in that way, I was able to see a different side of me. I was losing a little bit more of that ego drive, that forcing spirit, and it taught me a little bit more about being a humble servant. And yeah, it wasn't like that. I had to make that decision within me, and there was times where I had a lot of heads looking at me, very interested in corporate, but that's okay because I'm thankful regardless they've given me the space to still let me grow and be my authentic self with how I serve in that space too. And as I was learning in my career how to serve others in this way, also with my 12-step program for myself, and peeling those layers back and more, my higher power told me you need to start a business, but I was too scared because I've tried to start businesses back when my old life with my photography, but it didn't go the way. All my investments went to things that weren't serving me or others. So I had a lot of fear. But I'm thankful I moved through that fear from others showing me the light within myself and a mirror for me as to what that vision is. And I was able to see a house and a home, and I didn't understand what this home was. I really had to dig deep because I really thought it was for homeless children. I really thought it was for homeless children in the beginning. But I had to get more clear beyond my why, like why it was this home on my heart in the mountains of North Carolina, where I see all these children and these people just like coming together with gardening and cultivating their own natural resources and learning together, coming together. I was like, where is this coming from? And the more I started learning, I was able to see that I'm a survivor. And I didn't claim that for a long time because for the last 4 years, I've been looking at the symptoms, but not really the root cause of why I used and drank. And a lot of that was being victimized. Even though 4 years now I've taken my power back. I even gave away my power for my own self for a long time because I didn't know anything else. And it was just like having that space to really rewire my mindset, which it's just still a work in progress each and every day. And I was kind of being more curious in this home and more of my why. And even though this did not happen to me as a mother, but as a child, and my mother did not understand what was going on, and she did not understand how to be support for me. She did the best with what she had. And I have forgiveness and love for her for where she is. And, I think a lot because of that pain that I've turned into purpose, first for myself and the family that I've cultivated and grown. I was able to see more of this home for mothers to have that space as well, where it can be able to utilize the tools and practice them for themselves to be self-sufficient and give it back to their children to break that generational trauma, because this happens in families most of the time, such a huge umbrella. And it's about breaking generational trauma beyond just me, beyond just my chosen family and my bloodline. We all need this, and giving us space and the tools to practice and grow together as a collective and also independently too. But love, grace, and forgiveness and understanding. So that's kind of where I was at. And I then kind of had a really good connection with Anderson and Georgette. She couldn't make it on the call. She's moving to new places, so I wish her well. But they were the two people that I went to first, because they've helped me a lot in the back end when it comes to how to navigate, as standing for myself in corporate, but also being a collaborative player and being of value and growing with the team. And I just want to say, Anderson, thank you so much, because it's been like a year since he's helped me a lot navigate for myself and my team beyond measure. So I felt comfortable kind of going to them with this vision that I had, to kind of bring it to life, because entrepreneurship, as I was saying, is a fear of mine. I was moving through and it didn't feel as if for a long time I was worthy to be an entrepreneur. I didn't think I had the guts. I didn't think I had what it took. But the more I'm developing the self-value and work within my self-care practice each and every day with yoga and meditation, has helped me develop and see that I am worthy of this, but it's not just for me, and it's not just about my story. And Anderson has helped me a lot with building frameworks when it comes to branding, but I've acknowledged that I needed some more help as well when it came to strategizing, when it comes to nonprofits and business and all of that, because yes, it's the forefront is always about nonprofits, about serving. And how can you be there and be able to have the options for resources in this space for sore thrivers to grow? But there's also that back end as well, which is definitely a new space for me when it comes to being an entrepreneur, and even just being comfortable in saying a founder. And I'm thankful for Scott as well. He's helped me a lot with that framework. Georgette and Del Sol, who was on here, he had some connection issues because he couldn't be there. But Anderson, Georgette, and Del Sol are part of my advisory board with Inspire Light Haven. And they've helped a lot in avenues with agriculture with Del Sol, in the spirituality, Sacred Heart Space, and Georgette when it comes to case management RN. So they've helped me a lot when it comes to staying the course, and most importantly, being service-minded and how do we grow this organically and not progressively. So I just want to say I thank you all for that. And that's a little bit about me.
Well, I got to get some more people involved in here, and I want to bring in, of course, Star. Thank you so much for being here with us today. But I want to go to you, Sharon. What shows up for you in Alexandria Astoria?
Oh my goodness. Okay. There's so much that shows up for me in Lexi's story. Lexi and I have had a few conversations since I first heard her story. And first off, I want to say just how empowered I am by your story, but also how proud I am of you, Lexi, for taking your lemons in your life experience and making lemonade out of them. And not only making the lemonade for yourself, but wanting your experience to better the lives of others behind you. I have so much respect for you. There's not enough words in the English language for me to express that fully. I also want to, the other thing that came up for me, and I know you didn't say it in this way today, so I hope I'm not saying anything that you don't want me to, but I know that part of our conversation has been one way, even though we don't have the exact same story, and I'm not from the trafficking world, so to speak, and I'm so sorry that you went through that, but I am excited that you're able to take that experience and elevate yourself and rise above it and elevate the world through your experience. But I want to commend you, and I also want to acknowledge that part of our mutual story is that we've recently been coming into our own in terms of finding our voice and not being silenced by all the people that didn't believe in us or didn't believe us or thought they had better ways. And some of the generational lessons that we learned that we grew up with, like children should be seen and not heard and all those things. So I just want to commend you. And I know it's a work in progress for you, as it is me, to lean into your voice. But the way you did this today and the way you've been doing it of late, since I've known you at least, is just, I don't know. It's just amazing. And I can't wait. I'm so glad and blessed to be part of your journey. And I cannot wait to see you blow this whole thing up. And I also can't wait for us to collaborate, because look out, world, here we come.
I love it. I love it. It's like Michelle said, go big or go home, and everything like that. We will do that. So I got to go to you, Rashida. What say you on Alexandria's story?
First off, I commend you for taking tragedy and trauma and turning it into a gift that now you help other people with, because a lot of people still are stuck in their own pain, and the fact that you were able to get out of it yourself and now can do that for other people, kudos to you, my friend. Like, all the blessings to you. God will reward you tenfold, even more so, because you're doing something great for humanity, not just for yourself, but for humanity in general, and a lot of people need it. Personally, with my own story, I definitely resonate with your background and your story of triumph and overcoming, and the self-work that it took to get you to where you are today, to be a gift and a tool and a vessel for other people. Wasn't easy, I could only imagine, but big credit to you, my friend. Big credit.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So let's go over to Dina. Dina, what say you? What did you take from Alexandria's story so far?
Hi. Oh my gosh. I've had the pleasure of knowing Lexi for a while, and I'm just so grateful to hear the full story. And after having, done some meditations and working conversations, I'm just so delighted and grateful and honored and humbled to be here and be part of the journey, and to feel, I love the turning pain into purpose, and the empowerment and the authenticity and owning your story. And I just, it's just who you are as a person. I'm just so grateful that I get to be here and witness it. And I'm so inspired. So keep going. I got you.
Thank you so much, Dina. So let's go over to Star, because I know they just joined the call just a little bit ago, but I want to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. And also, I want to find out, what do you think about Alexander's story? Over to you, Star.
So Star is my friend. She's a very deep sister of mine that has definitely overcome her own challenges, but she's working right now. I sent her an invite to come here, so she's just listening in. But
She's listening in the office, evidently.
Yeah, she's just listening. And she doesn't have a LinkedIn, so I just sent her to the live stream.
Well, Star, we got to get to know you, so we got to get your information stat. Let's make that happen. So thank you so much for showing up today. We greatly appreciate you in and of itself. So, but I got to go to Charles now. Charles, what say you on Alexandria's story?
Well, couple things, few things. One, thank you for sharing and being so vulnerable, and for working as an advocate. She and I are involved in the pillar of family within and here, and I know countless things we can talk about here in your meetings, Chris, but I would say that in my humble opinion, as a fellow survivor, until we can't bring women in here to talk about the abuse because they're no longer being abused and they've been given the healing they so desperately need and desperately deserve, that perhaps this should be what we do all of our meetings is bring one woman after another in here to deal with this, because this is such a crucial issue. And how are we going to really have functional humanity if we have completely dysfunctional women who are being abused or have been abused but haven't received the healing they need?
Thank you so much, Charles. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for that powerful share. And of course, we got to go to none other than Margaret. Hello, Margaret. How are you doing today on Wonderful Wednesday?
I am blessed. I can't complain. I'm here working. But I wanted to say hi to this beautiful, fascinating, just amazing young lady here who just exudes nothing but pure light and just beauty with everything that she's been through and just gone through. And it's just amazing to see you grow and watch you. And I think you're a powerful addition to the team, and you're just so blessed and loved, and you have a very powerful wisdom as well. And yeah, I can't wait to see. I mean, I see you shining already, but bring that to the light and help the rest of us to understand, to educate us with all of the wisdom that you have. And it's such a beautiful mom and a beautiful bride. So I'm honored to know you, very honored to know you, and to be able to stand in your presence. I love you. I got to get back to work, but I couldn't. I'm going to be on here, but I just can't be on camera. I'll see you all. Love you. Love you.
You're,
Keep doing it,
you're good,
Alex. Keep
Margaret.
doing
Thank
it.
you so much for chiming in today. And we greatly appreciate you. And we're so humbled and honored that you're a part of our great and growing movement and team and community that is bringing humanity together. But I want to go to Scotty Mack and want to get his take on Alexandria's story. Go ahead, sir.
I have to unmute myself. Trying to get myself to the gym. Trying to be somewhat functional. Starting a work day at 3:30 a.m. is I don't know how you say it over there. Fucking crazy. Um, but
Said like
I
only
must.
you can say it, Scott.
Yeah, God bless America, because that's why I'm up. But oh, Lexi's story. I think well, I've been confronted with a lot in my recent work with law enforcement, and I guess I wouldn't say I took Lexi's story in my stride, but it's sort of it's profound to actually meet someone who's been through that and come out the other side, and particularly um, being a childhood sexual assault victim myself. It's one of the things that made me really light up around the work with law enforcement as well. But I haven't gone through anything like Lexi's gone through. It ain't about comparison. I understand the impact that can have on us, particularly in relationships and things like that. It's huge. But to come out the other side, it's tough. It's hard. You got to work. You got to work real hard. And I think I admire Lexi's resilience and ability to focus on getting a better outcome. And I keep saying it, and to her, my plight is to make sure that that she's successful in achieving what she wants to achieve, that she reveals enough of her story to be relevant, but not too much to make it a projection. Because it's really easy for people to do. I see it a lot in this work. I'm always critical about people in social services having no lived experience and not having the capacity to be curious enough to understand it. The dichotomy, of course, is that when you go the other way and you've had a lived experience, you've got to step up in very different ways to make your organization credible, investable, and those kinds of things. So which way is easier? I suspect this way is easier. I think it's easier to take someone with lived experience and teach them how to hold the professional line, so to speak, and manage their boundaries and manage their share of their story. Look, I think she's a very generous soul. I've gotten to know her on a personal level. She's been really good to me, actually. And as I try to traverse the US and all of its wonderful machinations, I haven't felt this free. Oh, sorry, I'm just joking. I can't rid myself of my Australian smartassery. It's just it's a thing. But yeah, I mean, it's what's most important to me is that story manifests itself into something really meaningful for people, and that for Lexi, a mission gets to be achieved rather than a trauma healed. And I think she's done an awful lot to do the trauma healing. But now it's game time to see what we can do with that experience and turn that into something meaningful and robust. So here's hoping I can help.
And Scotty, I truly believe what you shared there was really very, very pivotal, because again, when we do show up to life and say we're going to have life happen for us and not to us, it really changes not only our perception of not only our own reality, but how we even see the world in and of itself. And Margaret even said that was very eloquently well spoken, Scott. And
Marg,
everything.
checks in the mail, Marg.
but I truly believe, like I said, if we just show up as who we are, nothing more, nothing less, and just people just take us for who we are, not what they expect us to be or what they want us to be and everything like that. Because again, expectation can lead into a place of not actually seeing what's actually there. It's a point of deception. And I truly believe when we just be very vulnerable in who we are, that will shine through. Because again, the best thing that you can ever do is shine a light on something that you've been blessed with, or you've been through a trial, tribulation with, or whatever. Because everything that we do in life, Scott, and I truly believe as such, not only does it happen for a reason, but it can take us into another direction if we choose it to be. And that's why, again, I highly believe in this, that choice is the ultimate path to freedom. And if we have choice in our life, that changes the game in and of itself, and everything like that. So yes, and Star, yes, if Alexandra can send me your information, that will be great. We'll make that happen. But I got to ask you, Alexandra, when you
Could I just
really
add something there, please?
Go ahead.
I just want to add to the term choice, and this is essential to, and you're going to write this down, Lexi. It's choice and agency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agency over where our life leads and what our choices are. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you, but I just think that was an important addition.
You're good, man.
And then if I may chime in, I really want to hear more from Alexandria, but if I can chime in on something you brought up, Chris, about perception, two things. One, as an abuse survivor, your perception of reality and of yourself totally changes, one. And then two, other people's perception, oftentimes they don't see what survivors see, where they see someone's action or someone's word, and they're like, no problem here. This is totally acceptable behavior, totally acceptable words. Only survivors will be totally triggered because of their experience, which then leads to their perception.
And you bring up a good point, Charles, again, when it comes to the perception dynamic. If people perceive us to be one way and they kind of get into that place of expecting it to be that way, they get kind of disappointed. It's like, why are you not this way when I'm thinking, again, I kid you not, prime example. When the Nixon and Kennedy debate took place back in the 1960s, everyone who heard it on the radio thought Kennedy won. But when everyone saw it on the TV, because back then it was only black and white at that point, they thought Nixon won. So why would be the discrepancy? Because they only see one side of the story and everything. And I truly believe when we get the whole picture, it changes the game. And again, this quote hits me like a ton of bricks, Alexandria, and I know you will love it. Of course, because again, it comes from Star Wars. Again, it's about embracing others for their differences for that which makes you whole. And I truly believe in that, ladies and gentlemen. When we embrace each other, not only for the similarities that actually binds us and kind of connects us together, but really shows us the uniqueness. Because think about it. At the end of the day, kid you not, would you like to be just like Bob down the street and drive Bob's same car and go to work just like Bob and build it like Bob the Builder? You know, do you really want to end up doing that each and every single time to be someone just like them? And I kid you not, we get conditioned to believe that we have to end up just being like somebody else. We have to be like our parents. We have to be like Mike. We have to be like Bobby Sue or Bobby Joe or whatever the case may be. We get in that to our mindset that we have to be just like them. But the thing that the question then becomes, and I got to ask you this first, Alexandria, is it better just to be just you?
Yes, yes, it's very freeing. But sometimes we don't even know that we wear masks because if we're told, if you hit this expectation, you'll get this reward, you'll get this type of value or this type of outcome. So for me, anyways, I focus so much on the inside out or the outside in versus the inside out perspective when it came to tailoring myself to what the world wanted me to be. And I was losing so much of who I really am. I didn't even know who I really was. So when someone asked me, like, what do you want right now? I was startled because I didn't know. I was so disconnected to myself because I was seeking value outside of myself. So, and I'm still, even 4 years in my self-discovery journey, I'm still learning, my own value and how I show up to that for myself, for my family, for my work team, and the community and great beyond. And I think it comes back down to how we measure our values and defining that discernment as to like my choice when it comes to that measurement. Like, society doesn't need to tell me, here's the scale that you need to measure your worth. No, it is up to you. And you have the opportunity to create that within. It doesn't matter your creed, where you've come from, your nationality, culture. It is up to you if you choose to see it. And it's, for me, I'm thankful about embracing the process of the journey. And for me, there's no destination. Because it's all about the journey and being creative and open-minded in that process. And I've very recently just started opening my heart space because I've been leading my that's my sales buddy from Jolie. Hey, oh, I love you, bro. Anyways, I love my work team. I have a really good work team, so I appreciate their support. Yeah, but I think it comes from that learning that scale for yourself and asking those questions to yourself, like, how do I measure my own value and my self-worth? Like, what does that scale look like for me? You know what I mean? And maybe for me, I found that for a long time, that scale was focused on how I was told to be or look or feel or represent myself, and embracing solitude and not isolation, but solitude. But that was where I could really get one-on-one with myself, even with those hard times, and embracing the ebb and flow in between. Because sometimes, like, I did get a little discomfort, and that's okay. And the power of pause, the power of rest helps me a lot when it comes to rejuvenating, coming back and moving through what was meant for me, not what happened to me. So yeah, so releasing those layers, that's kind of like the process for me. And the more I've been doing it, I've been feeling lighter and brighter and stronger within my mind, body, and spirit. And for that, I'm thankful for my higher power, my understanding.
Chris, may I
Awesome,
chime in
Lex.
for a second? Would that be
Go
all right?
ahead.
So I just wanted to say a couple of things. Again, I'm going to say, Lexi, you rock. I can't say enough good things about you and your willingness to share your story. And in terms of something that Scott had said, he usually says things that resonate with me, honestly, like most people on this call. But one of the things that he said that really resonated with me is that when we're sharing our trauma, whatever form of trauma that is, to help ourselves heal and also to help people that are coming behind us through their journey, it is a very fine line between a willingness or how you share your story so that it comes across as I hate this word in a sense, but as a victory, as opposed to you playing victim or being stuck in the dirt of your story, you know? So there is that fine line, but I do think a willingness for Lexi or other people to come forward in the vulnerability is very important, because being vulnerability is what connects us as humans. If somebody thinks you're coming across as a robot, you're not going to connect with them. On the other side of that coin, if you come at it more from a being stuck in a place and being a victim, you're also going to push, have people run away from your message. But there is a way to be vulnerable and tell your story in a way that lifts people up and brings people forward. And I know that this is still part of my journey, that my self-discovery journey that I'm playing with, is how to articulate. I've never seen myself as a victim, honestly, but still how to articulate my story as a hero in a sense, so that it comes across to people with the vulnerability, but also we can do better. We can rise above this. So I just wanted to make mention of that in terms of what Scott had said, in terms of what you said, Chris, regarding choice. I totally resonate with that as well. We experience things and we can't help the things that we've experienced in our life. A lot of times we're thrown into those situations, but what we do have a choice about as we get older, especially if some of this trauma has happened in our childhood, but even if it hasn't, at any point that it happens, at some point we have a choice to say we're either going to stay stuck in our circumstances or we're going to move beyond it. We all come to that crossroads.
Yep.
And we have a choice. When we're standing at that crossroads, we can continue to go straight ahead, we can go left, or we can go right. And then the other piece of that decision-making process is, let's say you're at a crossroads and you just decide to go left, and you go, oh man, I shouldn't have gone this way. Holy mackerel. That in itself is a lesson, because you wouldn't have known that if you didn't make that choice. So you then have the ability to make another choice, which is, I'm not going left any further than I've already gone. I'm going to turn around and go either back straight or go right. And so, yes, we have choice, but we also, when we're making choices, we also don't want to minimize the experiences that people have had. We want to let them express those experiences and those circumstances, and then show them the way to take their power back by making a choice. We don't want to make people feel like they have to, do something. It's better to lead them to that choice or that decision.
Exactly. That's well said. Scotty, you have something to share?
Yeah, I just want to point out at this point, and I think it's really important to the storytelling piece, we have to accommodate the limitations of our audience and our stakeholders as much as it shits us. So we have to be aware that Lexi's story or my story, anyone's story, could be taken as blame. We have to be fully aware of people's limited ability to perceive something different than their own experience. So I do a lot of work with a guy in Melbourne who does a lot of work with homeless people. And what we're trying to break down is the empathy gap between people who actually work in charities and victim blaming that actively and unconsciously happens in the charity and social services sector. For Lexi, the balance is to, or rather the strategy is to try to make these people feel like it could have happened to them, right? And that's the nuance. And we have to remember the ridiculous nature of judgment, perception,
Mhm.
and what we're trying to do at the end of the day is make a difference, right? So we need people like my homeless dude in Melbourne gets really shitty about the lack of curiosity of people in corporate, right? And I'm like, yep, that's true. That's real true. But guess what, man? That's where the money is, and that's what you need. That's where you need to tell your story. And I'll share very privately, hopefully not to be recast, Lexi. But I've been in a parental alienation battle for a long while. It's my daughter's 15th birthday today, and I haven't seen her for 19 months. It's brutal, but I don't tell that story. And I'll tell you why, because the people I serve on a day-to-day basis, the social services sector, over indexes on man-hating women. And I'm not going to say that I've had a battle because it'll be assumed that it's my fault.
Right.
Right. And I have to take that reality sucks, right? I could surely do with some empathy around that, but I ain't going to get it. In the same way that, corporates will blame homeless people for their homelessness. So we have to be, and remember, there's an Australian comedian who likes to take the mick out of America, but remember the dichotomies we have in society. In the US, it's completely, for the most part, from my understanding, prostitution is illegal all over the country. And this comedian piped up and said, unless your friend is holding a camera. Right? So, if you think about the ridiculous nature of that conflict between having the world's largest porn industry, right? And, a God-fearing network of politicians and legislation makers who talk about the pure freeness of the nation. What a load of bullshit. But people live it and they buy it. And we cannot get away from the realities of the limitations of our audience, right? So that is the most important thing, because ultimately we're trying to make a difference. And we cannot convince them of what the experience is like. It's impossible, right? What we can do is try to connect them and their limited experience and exposure to our mission, right? And unfortunately, the best way we can do that is sometimes discard a lot of our story and shape it in such a way that it's more relatable to that audience. I think it's really critical, because our need to be heard in our trauma is conflicted with our need to be heard and supported by people who have no fucking idea what you've been through.
And you bring up valuable points there, and Scotty, it reminds me, and I'll even put it in the comment section of today's call. There's a great champion debater, and you probably know who she is, because she actually does come from Australia. Her name is Julia Dar. And Julia Dar, in her TEDx video about having conscious conversations that are rooted in curiosity, she, in that video, comes from three different points. Number one, she states that if we can choose curiosity over clash, maybe that is literally the breeding ground and starting point in and of itself to create that opportunity there within. And then number two, she says that maybe through conversations, just like the one we're having right now, can be that place and space to where it can move the needle and dialogue forward for all involved, and maybe even create more, not only more opportunities out of it, but create more connections, create more collaborations, and everything in between. And maybe those stories do matter when you hear all the stories combined, because what was the biggest story, bar none, is the story of humanity, and we're all part of that in one way, shape, matter, or form. But then number three, she brings it home with about maybe just been in and of itself through those conscious conversations that is rooted in curiosity, that maybe at the end of the day, we can all be then rooted in common purpose. And I truly believe, Scotty, when we get into that common purpose, and I've shared it in this kind of dynamic, and I truly believe it's going to hit home with you all too as well. It's not about how we start the race or how even we finish the race. It's like what Alexandria said. It's not even about the destination that we seek. It's the very journey that we should be focusing on. But even then, I even share with people, I don't even care how you even show up to the race, because I truly believe if you're even willing just to even show up, there's no certain way that you have to show up. It's about just showing up in general and say, hey, I'm willing to answer the call. How do I do this? How do I move forward? And if I can be allowed to do that in my own way, not in a way that Bob says you have to be in this way, or Bill says you have to be showing up in this way, that's not the way it works. The way it works for each and every single one of us, and I'm sure you can agree with me on this, Scotty, too, as well, and everyone, it's what works best for us at that given moment in time. And if we can let go of ego, let go of judgment, let go of fear, let go of even anxiety to a certain degree, then maybe, just maybe, if I can do it and do it very well from a place of human connectivity, I want to be able to see and even believe what Alexandria sees and believes, and just take it for what it is. Because yet again, the intentionality is going to be there. The flow will be there, because what's the one's constant throughout life? Which is change. Change is a constant. And we can't fight that. We can't negate that. We can't even put it in a box and send it across the world. But what we can do, though, is say, you know what? I want to put not only my best intention out there, but put it out there in a way that it can be in alignment with Alexandria, put it in agreement with Alexandria, but do it for her and make it about her, but put it on her timetable, not on mine, and everything like that. And Rashida, can't wait to speak to you, ma'am. I greatly appreciate you being here, and we'll definitely talk to you soon.
I just wanted to send my support and best wishes and love to you, Alex. And keep pushing forward. You're not done yet. This is just the beginning of your journey, my friend. Just wanted to give you that love. I got a few other calls, but thank you guys. Peace and blessings.
All right, we'll talk soon. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you.
I wanted to know if I can kind of, I'm sorry to cut you off, Chris, but I want to know if I can kind of share real quick, like next steps, like where we're going.
Oh, absolutely.
If that's okay. Okay. So where we're going, so I'm actually taking the next couple of months to learn a little bit more when it comes to survivor leadership and organizations, to learn with them and other survivors when it comes to sharing in trauma informative ways, spaces, and learning a little bit more in that realms. Of course, as well, working with Scott a little bit more when it comes to the strategy, business aspect, the analytics, and mental health of that. So I appreciate how he kind of puts that all together. The goal is to have a launch page come up here within the next couple of months once we develop a little bit more when it comes to more details of the unmet needs and what are the things that we need to be able to turn the unmet needs to fulfillable needs. And it's a lot of work that I'm doing right now, a lot of research that I'm doing. And I've had to put a lot of blinders on and hop off the progressive train that sometimes LinkedIn likes to do, and be more mindful as to who I truly serve here, because it's beyond just the internet for me, and survivors who are not, or SIR thrivers who are not even on this call yet, or not even out of it yet. So focus a little bit more as to how do I serve their needs first. And my goal is to have before the fall having a launch page up to show some of the analytics and the data from this research with how you can help, how you can be a part to grow the Haven, which will be in North Carolina. Yep, the nonprofit is currently right now established there. I have it as an LLC, and I'm working on getting it as a nonprofit right now on the back end, because the goal is to become a 501c3. But that takes time, that takes learning, education, funding, of course, but it comes with collaboration and education first. So that's where we're at, and I'll keep you guys posted with the launch page coming up soon. Anderson, I just want to give a shout out. Thank you for helping me with that. That's all I got.
Well, I'm just so humbled and honored to be in the presence of so many great and amazing people today. And like I said, Scotty, Anderson, Star, and I know Solaris was on just a little bit ago. Can't wait to meet them too as well and everything. But I gotta, like I said, just kind of close it here and everything like that. That when we just, like again, say yes to life and say yes to opportunity. It's not a matter if we build our field of dreams. It's only a matter of when and how's that play out and everything like that. But Alexandria, you're building that field of dreams right here, right now. And I kid you not, it was meant to be that I should be in your sphere of influence and network and everything like that. Because I truly believe we can listen to one another, then we can learn from one another, and then grow together in and of itself. And it goes right back to what John C. Maxwell says in a lot of his teachings of those three words: listen, learn, and lead. If we can all become better listeners, then we can all become better learners, and then we can all become better leaders, not only in our own world, but also in the world around other people too as well, when we just say yes to that in and of itself. Because sometimes the best leader can actually be the best follower, and you can't say no to that. And I truly believe that. I'd rather be a follower than a leader any day, and here's why. I can learn more, I can grow more, because again, when you think that you're at the top and you're a leader, most often or not, you're not. Because see, it's for a lot of people, it's about position. And I truly believe, Alexandria, it's about leading by permission now. And if we can lead by permission, it changes the game. So, Alexandria, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I know there will be more to come and everything like that. And I encourage you, Scotty and Anderson and Star and Solaris, and everyone who is watching today, if you'd like to come share your story on Conversations for Humanity, again, please click this link today, and we would love for you to come share your story. And I truly believe that stories matter, and that story can lead to so many things. So, Alexandria, thank you so much. Any final thoughts before we close out the call?
I forgot to shout out Generate Hope. I've been volunteering with them since the beginning of this year. They're a safe house in San Diego and just opened up about a year ago here in Colorado. So shout out to Generate Hope. Thank you so much for all of you taught me and what you do for Surf Thrivers. So just want to give them a little love and shout out, but that's all I got.
So they're in California, but they went to Colorado?
Yes, it was actually started by another Surf Thriver as well. Her name is
nice,
Susan. She started in
nice.
San Diego. Yeah, she's in 2009 and she branched out here in Colorado and has a house out here. It's been almost 2 years. Mm-hmm.
I can tell you one thing, though. I wish Kristen was here, though. Kristen would have loved this call today. She would have loved that. Yeah.
She knows about them. She's such a great resource. I love her.
Yeah, exactly. I do too. So again, like I said, can't wait to, like I said, get on calls with you and Anderson and Scotty and Star. Alexandria will give me your information here in a little while, and I'd like to have a conversation with you two offline. So from all of us here at Bring Humanity Together, Adaptive Strategies Group, Eat, Adapt, Grow, and now our new page. And Alexandria, you're actually now on our new page, if you can believe it or not. Stars for Humanity. This will be our place and space for all things Conversations for Humanity, and the people we want to uplift and really share that stage with, and kind of shine a light on these people like Alexandria today. If you want to share your story, it will be going now on that page too as well. That's our showcase page here at Bring Humanity Together. So please follow it and everything. So again, we're just so humbled and honored by this very opportunity. And like I said, looking forward to collaborating with all of you very soon. And absolutely, let's do this and everything like that. Let's build that field of dreams, everyone. So Alexandria, thank you so much, ma'am. You have an awesome day. Make it your day. And again, thank you so much, Anderson, Scotty, and Star, and Michelle, who was on, Margaret, who was on, Sharon, who was on, even Dina was on, and everything. And Keith was actually chiming in and everything like that. So even Keith was on today, and he even said this just a second ago. He said that was amazing news. So he gives you a shout out. So like I said, looking forward to speaking with all you guys very soon. You guys have an awesome, wonderful Wednesday, and make it your day. And we'll talk soon. Have a great day, everyone.